It's always very, very challenging to go to Old Trafford. You can sense and feel the momentum they're trying to build here. It was a special atmosphere with the new signings, and to come here away and win the game is a big result.
Clearly, we deserve more. We were the better team. I think that is clear. But in the end, we lost. We did a lot of things right. In the end, we should cross more the ball to the box, especially with the right players.
I think we didn't even play our best football, you know, but still we managed to get the 3 points, so I'm so happy and we are so happy for this.
What's the spirit like in the Arsenal camp? How have the new boys come in and joined in with things?
The new boys going to help us a lot, I think, and I hope it's going to be the secret to win something this year.
Obviously, it's very frustrating the way we conceded the goal. We were very aware of what they could do in set plays, and not being able of scoring with so many chances that we created. Is something that we have to look at.
You've spoken about the need for positivity on the field, but also off the field. And every time you went forward, it was matched by the noise from the stands.
They just want to have that feeling again. I think it's the simple things of we go to Old Trafford, we are not going to get bored. Sometimes you win, sometimes you draw. We need to win more than we won last season, of course. But they want to see something. They want to be here and to feel something. I think they felt something.
Yeah, great atmosphere today at Old Trafford. Now, no big surprise that Arsenal get their scoring off this season from a set piece. They've scored 31 goals from corners over the last 2 seasons, but you're going to have a closer look at Bayindir's role in this goal.
Yeah, and I think it's important that when we go to analysis, I think it's important that we run it clean, because I know that everyone at home is going to have watched this game, everyone in the stadium will watch this game, and their first immediate reaction will be the goalkeeper has to be stronger. Now, look, I'm not here to say whether it's good, bad or indifferent. I'm here to explain why that situation has occurred. So as Bayindir sets up here, he's looking out. He feels like he's got Mount, he's dealing with Saliba. As he looks out a lot across the edge, everything else is in place, and he's thinking anything that comes to that near post, I can come and deal with. So this is before Declan Rice has started his run-up. Now, that's where he sees it, that's where the action is going to take place. Mount taking care of Saliba, Bayindir focusing on everything that's in front of him. Now, in the millisecond it takes for Declan Rice to approach the ball, and as he gets to here, the whole situation's changed. Saliba's removed Mount out of the way, and he's got himself locked in for a battle, for a physical battle that Bayindir wouldn't necessarily have been prepared for. So if we just move it on. As the ball gets to here, Bayindir will be very aware that that's his ball. So he now needs to deal with Saliba. He needs to get him out of the way and create some room so he can deal with the ball. He'll be well aware he's not catching it, but he wants to get a good punch on it and clear his lines. Now, this is the moment he just manages to free himself. He just gets away from Saliba. So he needs to get set here, and this is where he needs forward momentum. He needs to be setting off and attacking that ball. Saliba knows that. He knows what he's doing in this situation. Arsenal's strongest player, low centre of gravity, and he just gets the nudge in as Bayindir tries to take off. And that is why it results in him not being able to use his right hand, flaps a left hand at it, and Calafiori cannot believe his luck. Easiest goal he'll score. Now, in this situation, personally, I would always want my teammate next to me. I want Mount the other side of Saliba, so I could use him as a human shield. I'd be using my left arm up against him, because it's not a foul when you're pushing against your own player. It's now a physical battle. Like I say, he's up against Arsenal's strongest player. I'd be using Mount to get him away, clear myself some space. I'd occupy my left arm, and then I'd look to use my right arm to punch. But because he's embroiled in such a strong battle and his weight's all over the place, he's not able to get a good solid punch on it. But we're going to get a really good example soon of how he could have handled that situation better.
The thing is, though, Joe, as a goalkeeper, if you do choose a player to stand between you and someone as strong and as big as Saliba, surely you want someone bigger and with more physical presence than Mount.
Yeah, I agree. You want someone who's going to handle one of the hardest players on the pitch, but that's who they chose to do the job, but Saliba just got around it so easily.
OK, and then, of course, Raya has, not long afterwards, the perfect textbook, almost, example of what you should have done. I mean, it wasn't the same move exactly, but a brilliant punch in what was really a faultless afternoon from him.
Yeah, he had an excellent game. He had some really good moments, and if you're going to have a Premier League winning goalkeeper, you don't just have to make big saves, you have to command your box. And what I talked about is how he frees up his right arm so he's able to punch away from the goal. Deals with the lit, that's a tough physical battle. Just gets that space so he can push it and clear his lines. That's music to his defenders' ears. But as we talked about, not only has he done that, that's his bread and butter. This save I thought he made against Cunha. Cunha looked a menace all afternoon. Now, at first glance, not everyone would have picked up on that, but I knew straight away. That is such a sharp save.
Brilliant.
So many more micro adjustments, getting set. And it's a really smart shot from Cunha. He probably wouldn't have expected it. And here, to change the trajectory of the ball, there's no room for error. That's an incredible save, and Cunha knows it. He absolutely knows that's a brilliant save. He thought he scored. And as the ball comes here, late on in the game, your team's won in 1-0 away at Old Trafford. That's exactly what you want. Now, what Raya does so well is when he sets, he realises he's not coming for the ball, makes adjustments. Here, these little micro adjustments, sets. Mbeumo has a great header, and that is all over Instagram later. That's a huge save, man of the match performance.
We were swooning, and you were going, oh, that's easy. That's your bread and butter. That's the one that you've got the picture blown up on your wall.
Definitely.
Arsenal's attack today, not as good as their stats kind of on average would be over last season. Not as many shots as you'd expect from their XGs. But actually, for Gyökeres, you know, first game in the Premier League, there he is playing the centre forward that Arsenal have been desperate to get hold of, and actually it was a quiet debut, wasn't it?
I felt for him a bit, Gab. I mean, touches in the opposition box, 3, says it all, really. The stats aren't good, but that's because he's reliant on other players to get him the ball. Arsenal have got brilliant creative players, and they weren't quite at the races today. It was a below-key performance from them, and as I said, their main creators were not feeding him. But this is what we do, you know, we build players up and then we overanalyse in the first week or two. Let him settle in.
Yeah.
It'll take time for Arsenal to get used to having a
Any
centre forward.
player needs to build up relationships with other players, especially forwards, when to make the run, who can I trust to get me the passes, you know, and physically as well. It's the Premier League. We know it's different than a Portuguese.
And plenty for Manchester United to get used to as well in terms of new players. And they'll leave the stadium tonight, those fans, feeling disappointed they didn't take a point or 3 points. But you think there's plenty to be positive about?
The progression was incredible, more dynamic, more direct, more confidence. Physically, they looked really good. And I think a lot of that comes from having players high up the pitch, especially the 2 new boys, who are just high in quality and good, skillful players who are physical and able, and they scare opposition. So the system we know, excuse me, the shape, he won't deviate from it, playing forward early. We saw lots, there's the front 3, lots of times last season, Bruno supporting them, Manchester United playing out from the back, constantly getting caught in the defensive third. We hardly saw that today. Then you've got the runners, because they've got pace. They want to get in behind. So if you've got players at the top of the pitch who want to get in behind and want to threaten the back, then get the ball early more quickly. There's that front 3 again, all in positions they're familiar with and have played with before. It's a great ball from Mount, who, by the way, had an excellent game, and that's positive. But then you've got the wing-backs more confident, willing to run forward, to support their forward players, knowing they're going to keep it, knowing it's going to stick. There's the back 3. We talked about it many times last season. They weren't coming out enough, taking a risk to help the midfielders and win the ball high up. As soon as they win it, again, there's the wing-back, Dogu this time, high up the pitch, brilliant strike and a few inches away from scoring, of course. And look, talk about tactics all you want, quality. Brilliant dribbler, physically strong, full of confidence. United didn't have this last season. Højlund low on confidence, Xerxes low on confidence, Mainu playing up there. It's a completely different dynamic. Here's this pass forward. His distribution was great, by the way. Great ball in, and then what have you got? Brilliant passer in Bruno, and now he's got runners linking up. So much to be pleased about for Manchester United fans. And then, again, moments like this, you know, somebody who's got the confidence to take responsibility at Old Trafford in front of that expectant crowd. He looks up, he's got runners. Šeško's on the pitch at this stage, even more options. And to be honest with you, I haven't seen Arsenal struggle that much in the second half in terms of not being able to get out, being pinned back. And again, look, there's the front 3. They get in the box, they've got numbers in there, and Mbeumo wants to round off his day. Good performance, and that's the save we were talking about. But overall, I mean, it's chalk and cheese, Gab, honestly. And Man U fans can actually be, I think, quite positive about this.
22 shots, and of course Šeško came on. Massive reaction, didn't he, from the fans in the stadium?
Well, he's to come into that as well.
Exactly, and I was going to say, and that is a great positive for them, that presumably next week, Craven Cottage, he'll get his debut.
Yeah, he really is, and it feels like the new players that have had a little bit of time, you know, Cunha and Mbeumo, they've had a little bit of time, they've got the system, so they'll believe that Šeško, they can get him in, they can get him firing.
So, Danny, what's the priority, you think, for Manchester United for the rest of the transfer window?
Well, some might think a goalkeeper, but I'd probably think a central midfielder. If they're going to play Bruno in there, someone with a bit more physicality than Ugarte and Casemiro, more powerful, to do a bit more running for him. But I mean, look, even if they don't get anybody, that front end of the pitch is going to make their season completely different than last, because every team they play against is wary.
OK,